a passion for helping people and organization in an era of constant change. As the founder and chief executive officer of the Pundit Place Limited, Jude leads a management and business consulting firm dedicated to equipping individuals, startups, and many small and medium enterprises with the strategies, systems, and capabilities they need to achieve sustainable success. He is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management Consultants, a chartered management consultant, a certified business analysis professional, a clinical instructor, and a respected business analysis mentor and executive coach. What makes Mr. Jude's story remarkable is his uncommon journey. He began his career as a cardiothoracic nurse, serving patients at the bedside before making the bold transition into healthcare business analysis and management consulting. Rather than leaving healthcare behind, he chose to transform how it is delivered by combining clinical expertise with business strategy, governance, technology, and innovation. That experience has given him a unique perspective on leading change in one of the world's most complex and rapidly evolving industry. Jude is deeply passionate about healthcare governance, risk and compliance, entrepreneurship, and business consulting. His work is driven by a simple but powerful mission to help people succeed in what matters most. Whether mentoring aspiring professionals, coaching executives, or advising organizations, he empowers others to embrace change, think strategically, and build resilient systems that create lasting impact. Through his work, Jude has witnessed firsthand that the future belongs to those who are willing to learn, adapt, and evolve. And his message challenges healthcare professionals and leaders to move beyond traditional roles and become active participants in shaping the future of healthcare. As technology transforms every industry, he believes healthcare professionals must develop the resilience, business acumen, and innovative mindsets needed to lead rather than follow. Resilient, visionary, and innovative, Jude inspires audience to see transformation not as a threat, but as an opportunity. His conviction is clear. The future of healthcare will not simply happen to us. It will be created by professionals who are courageous enough to evolve with it. I have the honor of moderating this webinar, and I am Chidimaya Lechi. Please help me welcome Mr. Jude Onwaramoko. Please let's give a round of applause. Let's just give those claps as I hand over the microphone to him. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, you're here.
Thank you so much, Chidima. Thank you for this welcome to be called the webinar. I told Chidima I was going to be here because of what I had to do. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be part of this great professional network. I believe that whoever is attending this webinar this evening probably got inspired by the message Chidima sent on WhatsApp and says, oh, you should have to be there on the webinar. I believe it's somebody who doesn't just want to hear another motivational speaker talk, because I'm not one. I believe it is somebody who has taken up the challenge to evolve with the profession. So thank you, and let's get it started. I have an opening reflection here, and the opening reflection talks about the healthcare professional who thrives tomorrow will not necessarily be the one with the most certificates, but the one who never stops growing. I would like us to ponder on this all through the webinar, and this is going to sit within us and even after it. The healthcare profession is such that it's transforming rapidly from patient care to technology advancement to professional growth. Just mention it. Research is evolving here and there. Now, it will only be a disservice to us if we refuse to move with that trend. Now, so we're going to take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself this question: am I only competent at the bedside? I believe that we have laboratory scientists here, or pharmacists, or just multidisciplinary team here on the webinar. So, whatever is your role, or whatever has been your role in the past 5 to 10 years, if you have not gotten uncomfortable with that, to move to the next, then you probably will be somebody who is only thriving with the certificates. So that's why I said take a moment to reflect and ask yourself the question: am I only competent Or am I becoming transformational? Am I growing my skills as fast as healthcare is evolving? What kind of professional do I choose to become from this day forward? So these are the questions that should sit in our hearts as we roll on. The healthcare landscape has changed greatly, and with the advent of artificial intelligence and digital health, let me give you an instance. There is this wonderful lady that has been transforming healthcare, digital healthcare. Her name is Adewara, Dr. Adewara. She's currently in the UK, but she has her establishment here in Nigeria. She has lots of innovations she's been coming up with, recognized by the federal government of Nigeria, UK, the US. The way she's transforming the digital healthcare. Okay, telehealth is now moving with the speed of light. Now, Dr. Adewara has been able to impact greatly in the healthcare. She could have been a consultant, say in, let's say, in family medicine in one of the hospitals in Nigeria, or a gynecologist, or probably a pediatrician. But she decided to step out of that box and innovate, trying to transform the healthcare landscape within Nigeria and beyond. So that is what we're talking about. We're looking at those who are eager to take that move, not those who are complacent, those who will feel, oh, no, I don't have the skill. Each and every one of us on this call today have a problem sitting somewhere that we can solve. I'm not interested in your discipline. You be a physician, a nurse, paramedic, laboratory scientist, pharmacist, even the biomedical engineer. There is a problem sitting somewhere that beckons to be solved. So these are the kind of minds that I'm talking to this evening. And I hope that by the end of this whole webinar, we'll be able to say, oh, I've been able to identify something somewhere I can fix to transform the healthcare system. That is the way we're going to grow. So healthcare is evolving faster than ever before. And it has been driven by rapid technological advancements and shifting patient expectations. Professionals must continuously adapt. The forces reshaping healthcare demands more than clinical competence. They require agility, innovation, and a commitment to lifelong growth. Growth is not something that we just dream about, okay? It's something that we action. So now we have artificial intelligence, we have digital healthcare, we have precision medicine and telemedicine, value-based care at the bedside, we have patient empowerment, we have workforce shortages and global disruption. So even if you decide on your own, okay, one of the issues you want to solve is this brain drain. It is something that a lot of hospitals are dealing with now, the Japa syndrome. It could be that you might want to decide how to treat patients differently from the regular. Somebody reached out to me last week and said, oh, Jude, that she's so fed up about her kind of practice. She's a cardiothoracic nurse. She's a mental health nurse as well. But she said she has gotten to a stage where she's just doing, that's monotony has set in. She's just doing the routine things. And then she reached out and said she would like to establish a facility. And what's that going to do? That she wants a situation whereby when patients, when they are done with their treatment, that phase where they will be discharged from the hospital without a follow-up. So she wants to capture them at that time and enroll them into a continuous psychological care. So these patients, once they finish with their surgeries, they've undergone surgery and they've been discharged home. Post-discharge, she wants to pick these patients from that moment and support them for those period of time when the surgeon probably has gotten over that particular patient and has moved to the next, or where the ICU nurse has said, okay, take care, goodbye, hope we don't see you again. Or that time when the receptionist has said, oh, madam, it was nice, it was a privilege to have treated you or to have supported your care. From that time, she wants to capture them from that moment, and then she wants to establish something, a facility that's going to take care of that. That was a brilliant idea. But guess what? I had a 45-minute session with her, and at the end of it all, she was so thrilled. It was as if she wants to start up the next minute. But as I speak with you today, 7 days after, no action has been made, even despite some follow-ups. So oftentimes we get inspired, we get thrilled by what we see others doing or by what we hear them do, and we want to take on that action. But you see, we listen to a second voice that says to us, I beg, relax. If you have to do this, are you the only person? Just focus. You are receiving your salary now, aren't you? So that should be enough. No, that's not the kind of healthcare professional we should be. Right? So we are looking at people who are really ready to take the bull by the horn, to transform their current status, to transform the current state of the healthcare in Nigeria, and to become that global healthcare professional that they want to be. There are 4 pillars of world-class healthcare professionalism. four pillars of a healthcare, a world-class healthcare professional. There are four pillars. The first is clinical excellence. Don't forget that you're matching yourself against a benchmark of global standards. By chance or by providence, I've been able to witness healthcare practice in advanced countries as well. But I tell you, Nigerian healthcare professionals are amazing. We are resilient, we are smart, and we have that zeal and potential to achieve any height of healthcare quality or excellence we want to. The only thing that keeps us where we are is our mindset. That is one thing that keeps us where we are. Nigerians are super smart, I'll tell you. So now, clinical excellence, that is the first that's going to help us attain that pedestal. Now, we have now evidence-based practice. There is a strong advocacy for patient safety, quality improvement, and continuous competence. If you check, if I ask you, everyone on the call now, in the facility that you're working in, when was the last time you had a thorough professional development program, CPD? Excuse me, the continuous professional development program in your facility? You might tell me probably last month, or you might say last quarter, or maybe to some, maybe last year. But how do we maintain healthcare excellence when we only have these trainings that will help us unlearn, relearn, and even learn new skills? Now, in the US, there is a minimum standard of training or minimum standard of care, and that care is benchmarked against what we call the JCI, which is the Joint Commission International. The Middle East have adopted it as well. That's the minimum standard. So all hospitals are JCI accredited. In the whole of Nigeria, we have about 3 hospitals. In the whole of Nigeria, 3 hospitals that are JCI accredited. And we have a couple of them that are COSASA accredited. COSASA is for Southern Africa. But JCI is the US standard, global standard. I mean, that is the benchmark for global standard. Now, if we want to really measure up with the capacity of a nurse or a doctor or a lab scientist or a physiotherapist in the Western world, it means our level of education, our level of professional excellence, patient safety, acumen, quality improvements, zeal will be benchmarked. Should be at. So now you have this team. You visited the hospital, okay, just running a random audit on the hospital. You walk in, you've spoken to the CMD, and you informed him about your intent to conduct an audit. The first thing you're going to hear from such a person is, of what use is that going to be? Please, I don't want that, okay? Now, this is a voluntary thing. All you just want to do is to see where there are gaps. You're not even asking them to pay. You want to find out where there are gaps and help them in solving that issue. The death rate in Nigeria now is skyrocketing. If you check randomly, just conduct a random audit on various hospitals, you will see that each hospital will be reporting, say, the death in the last 24 hours. We're talking about clinical excellence. We're talking about world-class standards. No. So the change will have to start from us individually. Our mindset has to change first before we can change a unit. Benchmarking ourselves with the global standards. So that's clinical excellence. Professional excellence as well. Communication. I always like to talk about this. Most of the resuscitations that happens, let me use that as an instance. At least in the past 12 years, I've been actively involved in building resuscitation teams and team dynamics. And what you observe is, at the point of resuscitation or critical care of a patient, emotions are always super high. You see a colleague of yours, let's say the team leader, a cardiologist, or maybe he's a resident in internal medicine, and he sees the monitor and says, oh, what I can find in the monitor is, let's say, an atrial fibrillation, for instance. Now, he verbalized it. Other team members, not knowing what atrial fibrillation is, but because of ego, they would rather not ask that doctor because they feel, oh, I don't want this guy to feel that I don't know anything. You see? So these are the kind of things we see. We don't practice that closed loop communication. You are seeing something on the monitor. What about if you said something like, oh, that's an atrial fibrillation? Okay? So everybody sees it and agrees. Now you tell the team member there, we draw or prepare, for instance, you can say, prepare adenosine and wait for my order to give. And the teammates respond. So I'm going to prepare adenosine and wait for your order to give. That makes a lot of sense. That's a closed loop communication. But you see, it's absent in most of our scenarios or cases. So, professional excellence, we still have to work on communication, ethics, accountability. Accountability speaks so much about clinical governance, and I am so up for clinical governance now. I'm currently building something to unite the healthcare system within Nigeria and create a culture of healthcare governance, risk, and compliance. Many people within the healthcare system or healthcare professionals are no longer, they don't feel that they are accountable for the actions they create. They hand it over. In fact, they do what they call hands off. So they hand it off to the management. Everything, is the management that has to see to that. No ways. They're quick to shift the blame to the other colleague. No ways. So that's what clinical governance or healthcare governance talks about. Who is handling what? Who is accountable for this error? 2 weeks ago, the HOD of one of the hospitals, teaching hospitals in the Southeast, reached out to me and said, Jude, there was a training I had for them a while ago, and that they are happy. They are now seeing the impact. They were able to save a life. Now that they want to imbibe that culture amongst not just the ICU team, but the pediatrics as well, the internal medicine team, the accidents and emergency. So different units now, because the CMD, the man who stands at the helm of affairs, is interested in seeing progress within the facility. Professional excellence, leadership. Now, as healthcare professionals, we are called to be leaders. Every healthcare professional has that call to be a leader, to be innovative, to think as part of a system, not in silos. Not okay. I am a nurse. Okay, so I should only have to deal with things regarding my profession. When there is any issue that has to do with, say, the laboratory, no, that's not my discipline. Should that be the case? No. Systems thinking. We are talking about somebody who comes to work, a physician who comes to work, sits in his consulting room, sees about 50 patients in a day. Let's say the hospital places a target on him to see a minimum of 50 patients. At the end of the day, he logs out, he goes home. Oh, what a day. He saw lots of patients and that was it. What happens to finding out other better ways to reduce the long stay of the patient wait time at the triage room? So he gets back home. I was able to see 50 patients today. How can I solve the problem of this, my facility? My patients have to, even if they have to book prior to coming to the hospital, but when they come, they end up spending 45 minutes in the triage room. They spend 1 hour in the reception waiting to be called upon. What systems can I introduce to make the triage time 5 minutes? How can I help my patients, those outpatients that come? How can I help them minimize their waiting time at the reception? How can I help across all touch points, from the reception to the triage room, to the consulting room, to the laboratory, to the ICU, the theater? How can I help to reduce my patient's stay? How can I help to increase bed occupancy rates? These are ways we can think in systems. So it's not only you. Now you know that you are going to involve the CMD in this conversation. You will involve the receptionist in this conversation. You are going to involve also the unit leads in this conversation. Even the patients, because they are stakeholders as well. So you have to involve them in this conversation. So that's thinking in systems. That is leadership. You don't need the CMD to give you the position as a HOD before you start thinking of solving problems. I want to spark up that desire in us to think of solving one problem or the other. There are lots of problems we can solve. And once you start thinking of solving problems, you are on the way to becoming that global professional, and you're going to get a career fulfillment, because that's what will pay off. It will definitely pay off. Team development and strategic vision. Personal excellence now. We have talked about the clinical excellence. We've talked about professional excellence, leadership excellence. We're talking about the personal excellence. Taming your emotions when you're managing from experience. Somebody's mic is open, please. So personal excellence talks more about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is as important as the, when we talk about emotional quotient, is as important as the intelligence quotient as well. EQ and IQ. Resilience, ability to adapt to change. One thing is going to be certain: change will always meet you. It's either you want to trigger change, or change will come to you. So one way or the other, you are going to change. It will only take time. lifelong learning, integrity, and purpose. We're going to talk more about this as we roll on. Clinical excellence. So when we talk about clinical excellence here, we are emphasizing on evidence-based practice and continuous competence. Beyond what you read in textbooks or memorizing those, you are at the point, your own small space. That's your own small space or your own profession. At the level of your profession, you should be a trigger for quality. You should be that representative, that person who will always think of, oh, this thing I want to do now, is it going to, of what use is it going to be to my patients? Of what use is it going to be to the greater achievements of the greater organizational goal? Are you just simply treating patients, or are you improving healthcare? Because they are two different things. Some people are experts when it comes to treating patients, but it does not translate to overall change in the healthcare system. That's one data. Let me give you an instance. I was speaking to somebody, a medical doctor last week, and he's the CEO of one of the hospitals in Warri. So we're just having a conversation, and he was telling me that it thrills him to see how, little a data, or let me use the word insignificant, so to speak, the data we get or the reports we get from the bedside when we ask the unit leads to send their reports to the management, how insignificant it might seem, but it has a global impact. Now I'll tell you, the CMD has asked the various unit leads, send me your reports, your weekly reports or daily reports, as the case may be. Now the lead HODs of different various departments sends them across, and then you see bed occupancy is say 56 beds. Out of the 56, they had 3 discharges in the last 24 hours. They had referrals about 10, and they had 2 DAMA, discharge against medical advice, and then you had 1 or 2 deaths. Okay, that data will be sent across to the CMD or the medical director. The medical director takes that data and passes it further to the Commissioner for Health in that state. The Commissioner for Health computes it with the PAMSEC. Okay, they compute the data and forwards it to the Federal Ministry of Health. The Federal Ministry of Health computes it and forwards it to United Nations, WHO, UNICEF, to international organizations, and that is what they use to make healthcare data. So we are the level of the bedside or in the laboratory where you are conducting the tests, and at the end of the day you give your reports to the medical director. You probably magnify figure, or you say, okay, you don't want the management to know that, okay, this report is escalating, and then you just shove it under. Okay, that data has a greater impact in the global health just from one figure that has been mutilated. That is how important the clinical excellence is. Evidence-based practice, continuous competence, patient safety and quality improvement culture. We have to adopt that, and clinical knowledge applied with precision and empathy. Not because you just want to deliver the care as a routine, no, but because you have put yourself in that patient's shoes and you have seen that it's an unpleasant situation. So you want to help that patient improve their well-being. Clinical excellence. So now we're talking about communication and emotional quotient now. Communicating with clarity, we cannot overemphasize that. Empathy and purpose. Emotional intelligence builds trust with patients and colleagues. For every word we use, we tell our patients, for every word, that word has the tendency to either destroy them or build that confidence and trust in us. You can become a global professional from just the contact you have with a patient that has appreciated the service and has said, oh, please, I need one physician to travel back with me to so and so place, and he doesn't find any other person to be that competent but you. That can be your story. It could be just within one encounter with a patient, even from the outpatient department. You don't have to manage the patient for a long time. It could be that you, as a laboratory scientist, you conducted the test with precision, and then the results come out within the agreed time. Okay, now the patient is so happy. Now, from all the touch points, yes, the patient is satisfied, but you, because you did something unique within your own department in the laboratory, that has given the patient even more reasons why the patient should feel that life is precious. Could be a cancer patient. You've run the biomarkers, and then you see that it did not mutilate the results. I mean, I've seen situations. I used to be, let me give you an instance. I used to be known to be AS, okay? And then in the course of my training, when I was training to become a nurse, I just decided to randomly go for this genotype test. I went to the laboratory and I got AA. That was, in fact, I felt, okay, maybe that laboratory did the wrong thing, or probably the one I've been having was the wrong one. I went for a test, another one, in the same hospital. I don't want to mention the hospital where I did it. In the same hospital, the results came out again as AA. I went outside to a laboratory outside the premises of where I was working. They ran the test, AS. So that gave me concern. That was before I got married. Now, you see, does it mean that this changes with the reagents, or does it mean that somebody is just quoting a figure? I mean, as little as it might seem, or as insignificant, so to speak, as it might seem, that's already presented a cause for concern. That's emotional intelligence and how to do things with precision, leadership and adaptability. We are leading at every stage of our career, every stage. Some people are at the beginner stage of their career, some are at the professional level. We're going to talk about it later on as we roll on. But at every stage, it doesn't matter where you are. You lead at every level and adapt swiftly to change. Resilient professionals thrive in evolving healthcare environments. Critical thinking as well, and then innovation and digital literacy. We cannot overemphasize digital literacy enough. Now, almost all hospitals in Nigeria now are trying to adapt this, adapt to the EMR. So we have different patients' electronic medical records now. Okay, so they are adapting really seriously. So whoever is not going to move with the trend will be left behind. There used to be a time when we were using the typewriters. Then you had lots of people, typists. You see, in fact, the typist role was one of the most important, or one of the high-ranking professional roles you would probably wish for. But now, these days, do you hear anybody? Do you see any adverts about typists? No, because the advent of computers has taken over that typewriter stage. So now we are talking about artificial intelligence. Are we moving with it? Are we embracing technology? Are we moving with a drive to improve initiatives and leverage digital tools as much as possible? The future skills matrix. I've been able to create a future skills matrix here that can adapt to any profession in healthcare. The first is technical skills. The second is communication. The third is leadership. Fourth is AI literacy, business awareness. Business awareness. I want to talk more about this business awareness. There is a trend that has been happening, at least from the time I started my career as a healthcare professional. I have noticed a trend. A clinician finishes from College of Medicine. Okay, he believes that, okay, yes, he's super intelligent. The next thing that happens is that he works for some time, a couple of years, gets some money, establishes a hospital facility, and then dives at it. The next thing that happens after 5 years, 10 years, he expands those the branches. We hear that this branch, this so-and-so hospital, this branch, or maybe Southwest branch, or it says Lagos branch, Lagos center. Now, within 10 years, he has several hospitals. Okay, good thing he has investors, that's fine. But the business aspect of healthcare is now the missing link. We have lots of clinicians who are super intelligent, they are super smart, they are adaptable, they are resilient. But the aspect of the business, the spice, that business spice of the healthcare is missing. When they run this business for a period of 10 years, you won't hear about that business anymore, that hospital. The next thing you hear is that hospital, oh, that one, they couldn't survive, they couldn't survive it, or they couldn't cope, or the patients had stopped coming to patronize them. Because many of our CMDs or medical directors having hospitals have lost that touch with the business aspect of healthcare. There is a business part of it, not just the clinical part of it, which most people emphasize. You can have so much investors that will give you the state of the art hospital. Yes, that's good. We have many of them. You will hear about, oh, this hospital has been launched. State-of-the-art facility. They have this MRI suite. They have that. They have a CT scan. They have a 1.5 Tesla. Oh, very good. They hire employees, get consultants. 5 years down the line, they are struggling because they had a very good strategy, but their execution was poor. So that is why business acumen, that's business awareness, is really critical if you want to become that global healthcare professional. That's healthcare professional that will step into a place and they will say, hold on, she has arrived. Hold on, he has arrived. Business acumen. Every healthcare professional should have it. Otherwise, you will be contributing to the healthcare wastes in your facility. It means your hospital, you are part of those making your hospital to struggle rather than improve. Business acumen. Research and innovation, very critical as well. Finding new ways of doing things. There is a popular saying, if you practice the same medicine for 6 months, what you're practicing is old medicine. So that sparks up the zeal to always recreate things, be innovative. I'll tell you, one of the times, just last week, I was a bit bored. I put up a prompt. I asked ChatGPT. I said, the death rate in Nigerian hospitals is increasing in geometric progression, and it gives me a lot of concern. ChatGPT always excited. I said, oh, that's a brilliant one, Jude. ChatGPT personalized it. I said, that's a brilliant one, Jude. That's going that way will help more hospitals to reduce deaths, and this will be adoptable in several hospitals across Nigeria. Oh, excited. That's good. ChatGPT responded and said, if you would like, I can tell you some things you can implement that can help reduce deaths. You see, now the conversation has started. Long and short of it, the conversation now started getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, even deeper, to the extent that I started this around afternoon. It kept on getting deeper up until 4:30 in the morning. That was when I realized I had not slept. But guess what? From that midday till that 4:30, I was able to create a system that will help people learn resuscitation skills. I said, wow, I have just made an innovation. It took me to a place where I even launched it. And today, as I speak with you, this just within 1 week, I have built the system, I have tested it, I have run a pilot on it, and it is working seamlessly. Now, you can learn resuscitation skills there. This is just that's what I'm talking about, the research and innovation. Now, what is the difference between innovation and creativity? Many of us are creative by nature. You can think of different things. Brilliant ideas can come into your mind. But you know what? When you cannot put XYZ amount of money into that creation, what you have just done is only being creative. You are not innovative. Innovation goes that step further to translating it to business. That is innovation. So if you have brilliant ideas that you want to launch, please let it not just sit within your mind. Discuss with people. You can keep your secret sauce, that's fine. But try to find out how you can monetize that. When you monetize it, then you are innovating because you are sparking change. Aside from sparking that change, you are building a system that can evolve. Okay? I always say this: when you want to build anything or you want to create or innovate, always test it against COVID. You know, like the typical way we say, have you had your COVID test? Have you COVID-proofed it? So I say, have you COVID-proofed your idea? Any business idea that you can bring up that can survive another pandemic has been COVID-proofed. It means the business is positive to COVID. As against what you have when you have tested positive to COVID, that means you have been broken down. No, but when your business is positive to COVID, you have tested it against odds, against a pandemic. It means it is in adverse situations. That is research. That's what the power of research and innovation can do for you. Systems thinking and resilience. I've talked about this earlier on. Now, emotional intelligence, well, in ourselves. Being self-aware, self-regulated, empathetic, and relationship management. Critical. Relationship management is critical. Now, why is it important? Because there's this also, of course, the popular saying that says your network determines your net worth. That's absolutely true. But aside from only looking at those who will inspire you or motivate you or even mentor you, try also to mentor others. Because whatever you teach somebody, you cannot forget. Whatever you teach, you retain. So being self-aware, recognizing your emotions, your strengths, limitations as they influence your actions. Self-regulation, managing your emotional responses, staying composed under clinical pressure and uncertainty. Empathy, understanding and sharing the feelings of patients, your colleagues, to build trust and connection. And then relationship management, building strong interprofessional bond, resolving conflicts, and inspiring others through influence. You can inspire people at any level. Now, if I ask everyone on this call, have you sat down to conduct a SWOT analysis, personal SWOT analysis? This is not you trying to start up a business now, no. Have you understood your strengths? Have you been able to understand your weaknesses? Have you aligned or set down the opportunities that are there for you, both within and external? Have you been able to understand the threats, the things that will deter you, that have been debarring you from achieving that goal you have set from the time you were an undergraduate up until this moment? Have you sat down at any point in time to conduct a SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis is not only for business startups or when your business is dwindling. You can conduct a personal SWOT. When you do that, your vision will be clearer. You'll be able to understand better where you're going. You'll be able to understand the people that you have been, even your colleagues, that you have been underestimating or you've been undermining their importance. You'll probably reason now to use them to achieving your goal. Personal SWOT is critical. Now, communication and collaboration. Now we adopt the S-bar communication. Okay, in most of our communication and in the health. Anything you don't track, if you don't track, you can't. So much for having a debrief for every case you manage. Each case you manage with your team, have a debrief. The debrief can be as short as 5 minutes. What do you want to get? There's a structured way of debriefing. We call it the GAS. G-A-S. G stands for gather, A stands for analyze, and S stands for summarize. Now, when you gather information, a 46-year-old patient had a tachyarrhythmia and was sweating profusely. You've been able to find out because he had associated chest discomfort, he was unstable. You've managed your ABCDE, airway is patent, clear and open, breathing is spontaneous, saturation is fine, just that it is increased in rate and effort of breathing with some retractions. Okay, that's fine. He's having some circulatory imbalance. His blood pressure is 86 systolic. All right. Now, you have analyzed all this. The next thing, that is gathering. Sorry, you gathered the information. Now you want to analyze it. So what did you do? James, I see that you were the one that managed the cardioversion. Were you able to terminate it on the first try? You're asking James, and James said, well, it was a bit difficult because we did not position him properly. Now you have identified, James was trying to counter himself, and he says he was not able to terminate that arrhythmia the first time. And he says because he wasn't well positioned. Now you say, James, don't bother about what you did not do right. Let us know what you did well. You have redirected James to think in a positive light first, okay? And then each and every one of the team members have mentioned what they did correctly. You move to summarize. Summarize now is where you can now talk about James. Okay, you ask James, so what can you do better next time? James says, I'll be able to reposition him next time better when I have to carry over. That has already sparked up. You've set the pace for the communication. Now, this is a structured way. GAS, gather, analyze, and summarize. Communication. But if you say, you were not able to cardiovert him, well, I thought you've done ACLS, but that's not the way it should be done. Communication. Now, that's not a good way of communicating. And we feel that her ego has been bruised, and Anne probably will give a response that might not be suitable for the team's growth. Communication, critical. Interprofessional collaboration, patient-centered conversations, conflict resolution, and active listening. These are critical skills that has to do with communication and collaboration that will help teammates grow. Always adopt the debriefing in all cases. That should be one of the take homes. Always. It will help you improve the practice. It will help benchmark your practice to global standards. In the Western world, if there is a case that did not go well, whether it goes well or not, even the case that leads to death, you will see the way they will be debriefing. What did we do right? What can we improve on? There is always that constant enthusiasm to do things better. Don't keep doing the same thing and expect a different results. No, it doesn't work that way. So, healthcare innovation is transforming how we deliver, manage, and experience care, from AI-powered diagnostic to telemedicine platforms. Today's professionals must embrace and champion innovation. Those who lead change rather than rage. Don't fight change. Those who lead it will define the future of healthcare delivery and patient outcomes. Now, AI is helping us to make better clinical decisions. Workflow is automating our processes. Healthcare entrepreneurship and quality improvement plan. Every hospital should have a quality improvement plan. All right. Now, leadership at every level. We are all called to be leaders as healthcare professionals. Leadership is not a title; it's an influence. It's influence actually. Every healthcare professional leads, regardless of the rank or role. Students lead through curiosity and initiatives. That's why even the residents, okay, or the consultants, when they tell their residents what to do, you give them tasks, right? You tell them, go and perform this, and I want feedback by the end of the close of business that day, or go and manage that patient. You let them lead through that curiosity and taking initiatives. Nurses lead at the bedside, and now these days, not only the bedside, they also lead in various ways, transforming healthcare from one aspect to another. Residents also lead through clinical decisions. Laboratory scientists lead through diagnostic accuracy. Pharmacists lead through medication safety. Administrators lead through systems and strategy thinking. At every level, you have the power to shape outcomes, inspire colleagues, and improve the quality of care. True leadership begins the moment you choose to take responsibility, not when someone gives you permission to do that, because oftentimes that permission might not come, and that is where redundancy sets in. The question is not whether you are a leader. The question is, what kind of leader will you choose to be? Do you want to be that leader that will be celebrated? So now that brings us to a framework that I just created. It's called the growth framework. The growth framework is a 6-stage model for intention. Okay. Others, you need to have that zeal to mentor others, helping people grow. When you help others to grow, you're also growing. So creating a life cycle of continuous growth, influence, and transformation. The G stands for gain mastery. You have to first commit yourself to deep clinical professional expertise. Excellence begins with mastering your craft. You want to be somebody who is skilled at it. Even when you are woken up from sleep, you can deliver that care. You can perform whatever it is. So you first master your craft in your niche. So gain mastery. Always remember the G. The first is to gain mastery in that craft. R stands for reinventing yourself. We cannot overemphasize the need for embracing change and continuously improving your skills. Your mindset has to transform. You need to move I want a situation whereby 6 months from now, I will hear that, oh, after attending this webinar, I've been able to take action. Please, if you need help with building that thing you want to build, say it has been sitting in your mind, we can discuss. I'm not a motivational speaker. No, I am somebody who actions progress. So if you want to really take that bull by the horn to reinvent yourself, you want to be that healthcare professional who feels satisfied and fulfilled. We have Chris Boda brand. Now, sometimes I even forget that her name is Chidinma. I just call her Chris Boda because that is what is sitting in my head now. See, so she decided to go beyond that space. She doesn't want to do the regular. No. She doesn't want to settle for the common things. I want to be known to be doing something unique, something affecting the healthcare. I mean, we could have been doing other things this night with our families or other things that matters somewhat to us. But we decided to be here, which means what she's doing and what her team are also doing makes a lot of sense. That is owning the brand. Work across disciplines. Collaborate with other members of the multidisciplinary team. Do not just box yourself within, oh, I am the physician. I cannot relate with the laboratory scientist. I don't discuss with other members of the clinical team if it's not just relating the lie. Everybody has potential to transform things. Maybe just a simple how do you see us if we have to do this and that? And the person gives you a list, oh, you're right. Do you know, I've not thought about this. Both of you sit down and decide on how to move the healthcare to a different level. Think like a leader, not as a passerby, not someone who is just one number in the healthcare system, in the healthcare space. Not a number, not an employee number. No, don't just be an employee number, one more count. No. Be somebody seen to be actually doing something. You have not been told by the nursing director to send a report of the number of patients you have, or that you had a death last night. You can on your own decide to say, can we call a meeting? Because you are curious to know why this patient died. Aside from a case of they can't don't managed. Patient they would have or they should have, but because of negligence, oftentimes they present with what we call the they present with the early warning signs that for at least 6 hours they must have been giving you the sick. Not that's oftentimes. So when you think like a leader, you want to call a meeting amongst the team and say, oh, this is becoming a recurrent decimal. Can we fix this? Our patients are dying more too often or deteriorating so rapidly. What is the issue? You are thinking like a leader and not just a number in the team. Help others grow as well. So that's the growth framework. Career development roadmap. We have now everyone on this call belongs to either stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, either stage 4 and 5 that is interconnected. It could be that you are the foundation level, which is a stage 1. You're just starting your career. Or you are the professional excellence level, which is stage 2. That's where you're gaining mastery in what you're doing. But from this call, we expect that after this call, you will move on to stage 3, which is the stage of influence and leadership, and then to stage 4 and 5. So that is the essence. Growth is intentional. A world-class healthcare professional does not arrive at excellence by accident. Excuse me. It is the result of deliberate staged development, each phase built on the last, expanding your competence, influence, and impact. Identify where you are today and commit to the next level with purpose and discipline. There are essential skills and tools that leadership attract. Excuse me. Essential leadership tools are the SMART goals. Always set SMART goals. So your goals must be SMART. So it has to be systematic. It has to be measurable. It has to be accurate. It has to be also such that you can review over time. Don't make it fixed as it was in the beginning, is now and never shall be. Now, and then it has to also be time bound. So when you're setting your goals, always put your short term, long term, mid term as well. That's where it will help you. Anyone you've achieved, you check it off, and you might revisit it again and see how you can make it better. SWOT analysis, and then the PDCA. So PDCA cycle is a corrective cycle that we always perform when we have had say it's more like a corrective action. Okay, so we want to continue to balance scorecard or root cause analysis, which of course most of the time you want to ask the 5 whys. Why did this happen? Why did I have to take this decision? Why must it be this decision at this time? So this way you'll be able to know to run a root cause of a certain situation that was unpleasant or a certain situation that deterred you from getting to the next stage. You always run a root cause because this will help your improvements over time. Balanced scorecard. We use this. I don't want to go in depth these terms, so I don't bore you. Most of these terms are terms we use in business. So a balanced scorecard is more like a KPI. When you run a KPI, key performance indicator for your personal growth or your organizational growth. So the balanced scorecard attaches reward to different actions, okay, and attaches also penalty for not performing the action the appropriate way it was set. That's why you have benchmarking, okay. Quarter change model, this is a topic on its own, and then the design thinking. So these are essential leadership tools. If you want to know more about this, we can get on a different session, so I don't take much of the time. Now, this is the quarters 8 step I've presented here. For the quarters 8 step, it is a change management sequence. So the first thing you need to do is to create that urgency. As I am trying to create the urgency for change or the urgency for transformational leadership in our hearts today, I'm letting you know that there is real need to start today, not tomorrow. That is a Cotter's strategy. The person who postulated this is Dr. John Cotter. Okay, John Cotter's. That's his 8-step model. So the first is to establish a feeling of urgency, of hurriedness towards change. Make that change critical. That if it doesn't happen, something would go wrong. The next is to build. Now you formulate a guiding coalition. Build people, build resources that will help guide you towards achieving this. Now, develop a strategy to bring about that change. Every change has to be strategic. Otherwise, you will just be running helter-skelter without making any headway. Communicate or put forth the vision or strategy for change. You have to communicate that, and if you are working as a member of a team, you have to enlist it, communicate it so that it's visible. That's why every company have their vision, so that everybody gets in the know about that, and then empower others. Okay, empower your employees for taking action to incorporate change. Motivate them. When somebody does the right thing, encourage the person. If the person does the one that is not appropriate, you want to modify the behavior and perform the PDCA. Now, formulate and generate short-term goals. Sustain as capitalize your wins and gains in order to produce bigger results and institutes. You have to incorporate new and better changes in the workplace. Okay, quality improvement tools. These are quality improvement tools you might want to take a look at. The fish bone, that's the 5 whys. Okay, you know how a fish looks, the central bone piece, and has branches. So you can always have that at the back of your mind, the fish bone, when you are dealing with whys. You want to find out why certain things happen. This helps to improve your growth. Okay, and then the PDSA cycle as well as the PDCA, Lean and Six Sigma. There's a strategy we call it the Six Sigma strategy in business and process improvement. Now we have also the clinical audits. You cannot grow in what you don't audit. Even your finances, if you want to grow your finances, you have to audit it. Try to audit your processes and improve over time. Okay, we've talked about systems thinking. These are just interconnected processes where healthcare professionals does not look at only one aspect. It is multifaceted. Okay, patients and professionals are the center of it. Community and stakeholders integration. Stakeholders are anybody who's going to benefit from that change. Those are the stakeholders. Technology, finance, and policy alignment improve the system, not only individual performance. Okay, digital transformation as well. That's, of course, we've talked about artificial intelligence, electronic medical records. These are the things that have been introduced now in healthcare system in the last couple of years. Remote monitoring, digital collaboration. These are ways we can just find better ways of improving our care and services. So digital transformation is imperative, and healthcare professionals that want to become world-class must embrace technology as a tool. Personal branding, always remember your integrity, visibility, credibility, thought leadership. Please don't overthink it. If you have ideas, don't keep it within your mind, let it sit within your head. No, you need to take action step by step every day towards achieving that. Now, don't always listen to the voice that will tell you, don't do it now, you can wait tomorrow. Don't do it now, don't worry, there are other people who have done it. No, you can be unique. You can create a niche for yourself. Okay? Many people see, for instance, EMR, we don't have only one. The person who started this EMR, who first designed this solution, EMR solution. I mean, today, we've got lots of them. If you just Google EHR, Electronic Health Record System, or EMR, there are lots of them. You can be one of those as well. So there are different things you can do. Okay? These are all what we've talked about. Lifelong learning, read widely and consistently, attend conferences and seminars, pay if you have to, engage in research, seek and offer mentorship. Don't fold your arms waiting for your mentee to act sometimes. Sometimes a conversation can just lead to you mentoring somebody. Commit to teaching others, pursue professional certifications, and then reflect, repeat, and never stop growing. There is a 90-day challenge for you. There is a 90-day challenge for you starting from today. Growth is intentional, not accidental. So you have to commit to 6 targeted actions over the next 90 days to accelerate your professional development. Small, consistent steps taken today will build the mindset, skills, and habits of a world-class healthcare professional tomorrow. What are these 6 steps? 1, choose one leadership book you're going to read. One leadership book from today. Maybe it can be a digital copy of it or a physical copy. It's okay. Just choose one. Learn one digital skill. Mentor one junior colleague of yours. be in the same profession or in another profession, but let it be within the healthcare if you really want to go within the healthcare. So mentor one junior colleague, lead one improvement project. Maybe there is something within your hospital that has been of concern to you, or you notice that your patients are always they end up having bed sore when they come to your hospital. Now you want to reduce hospital stay. That is one improvement project, reducing hospital stay. Now find out how you can reduce patient stay in the hospital. That is it. I'm just giving you an instance. Okay. Now the habits of a world-class professional: 1, learn daily. 2, read regularly. 3, oh, I didn't finish this, right? 6, I mentioned the 6 targeted actions. Yeah, the 5th one, oh, sorry, I didn't do it. So the 5th one is to conduct a SWOT analysis. 1 SWOT analysis every month for yourself. Personal SWOT. That's the 5th one. And then the 6th one is collaborate and network with other multidisciplinary team. Now, why is it important to conduct a SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis will help you to understand where you are currently in your professional growth. It will make you not to start thinking in oblivion, or you start thinking things that do not exist you want to create. No, it makes you know, accept the stage you are currently and what you can do to improve it. That's what SWOT is going to do. And it paints a reality, your finance reality, what your threats are. Maybe the threats might be that in the place you're working, you are the only, for instance, you're the only pediatrician. Now that is even a threat, because when you want to resign in such a place to build your own thing, you have to think, this hospital is going to lose a pediatrician if I don't go. Do you understand? So that is a threat to your career advancement. How are you going to mitigate it? You can suggest or recommend them to employ more pediatricians within your team, so that you will be able to have that liberty. If you're not there, somebody else can stand in. You can think to improve yourself. Okay? 10 habits of a world-class professional. 1 is to learn daily. 2, read regularly. 3, protect integrity. Very important. 4, communicate effectively. You also need to hunger for change. Always hunger for change. Don't be that person who is always comfortable. Always question, why are we doing it this way? What can be done to make it better? There is always room for change and improvement. Build relationships. Build relationships. Build relationships. Use technology vastly. Think strategically. Mentor others, and then seize opportunities. Okay? And then key takeaway: excellence in healthcare is built on more than clinical. It's built on more than clinical knowledge. It is shaped by character, driven by leadership, accelerated by innovation, and sustained through lifelong learning. Together, these pillars define the world-class healthcare professional who creates lasting impact. Clinical competence starts your career. Your character sustains that career. There is this thing we say, that character takes a man to the top, but charisma retains him there. Leadership expands your impact. Innovation will accelerate it further. Lifelong learning secures your future in healthcare. Thank you for listening.
Wow, that was a mind-blowing session. In fact, I feel we are supposed to. This is not something we're supposed to do under 1 hour or 2 hours. It's a premium educational presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. Judon Baranko. I don't know how many of us already feel like flying like myself. Like, I feel I should do more than I'm doing at the moment. So at this point, I don't know if any of us have questions. This is the time. You just raise your hand. You could raise your hand if you have a question, and we'll hand over the mic to you. We're supposed to have a discussion section, but because the time is fast spent, perhaps we'll have to reschedule and plan a part 2 for this particular topic: building a world-class healthcare professional. I don't know how many of us became a health professional, whether a doctor, a nurse, a lab scientist, a physiotherapist, whatever capacity you work in, just for the title, or just for the recognition, or just for the money. But regardless of what it is you are right now, the essence of this webinar is to make you see from within, beyond who you are at the moment, beyond that title you bear. Begin to see yourself as a change agent, begin to see yourself as a leader, begin to see yourself as an entity, and begin to see yourself as someone that can contribute to what you met. Here in Nigeria, we have so many, in quotes, I don't want to defame my country, but then you would all agree with me that the healthcare practice in Nigeria is still a work in progress. So begin to see yourself as somebody that can bring something to the table, not just going to work at the end of the month, get your paycheck and just keep living that routine life. So I hope we've been able to reshape our mindset, because it's actually a reshaping of mindset, a learning, relearning, and unlearning session that we've just had to help you to see yourself beyond who you are, just, seeing yourself beyond who you are at the moment and beginning to see yourself as someone that is able to do more than just what you're doing now. Any other contributions? If you have questions and probably you're shy to speak up, you can use the chat box, drop your questions, and we'll entertain them before we call it a night. In the meantime, I'd also want to still recognize as many of us that have stayed with us till this time. Thank you so much, Jumbo. I can see you. Mary, thank you for joining. Ohazurume, Maxwell, Ibe, Eze. Because I call your name, just clap for yourself. It's not easy. Cecilia, your favor, thank you for joining. Agbamaru, thank you for joining. Rose, Victory, Rachel, thank you all for joining. I see you and I appreciate you tonight for joining this webinar. Kate, I also see you. Duru, Christiana, Emekode, Chidinma, Easy, I see you all. Thank you again for joining. Any questions before we call it a night? Please do well to follow our social media handles to get updates and information if we have upcoming webinars like this. You would agree with me that what you have just heard is premium content. It's not the regular kind of educational content you come across online, but we've been able to make this available for us free of charge. Please, can we clap for IHPN? It's not easy. Thank you so much. All right, I think at this point we don't have any questions. I can't see any hands. But do we have any questions in the chat box? Those in charge of the chat box, so that we can call it a night. Okay, I can't see any either. All right, I just want to especially appreciate our guest speaker right now for sparing out time. He's a very busy person, but he, made it possible and made himself available to impact from his wealth of experience and knowledge. Thank you so much, Mr. Domo Baramuko. We hope to also have you sometime.
Thank you so much.
We're supposed to have a discussion session, but because the presentation took most of our time, and apply the knowledge you learned from this session tonight to.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir. All right.